All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Morning Mayhem. It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode. Super excited to have you guys with us today. It's going to be a great episode. We're going to kind of stick with one theme throughout. A good portion of it, it's a certain community we're going to talk about. Couldn't tell from the thumbnail, I'm sure, but we've got a couple of stories that kind of lean in that direction. And then I do have a very special guest coming on later at the end of the show. I will be talking a little bit more as we get a little closer to that, but super excited because I don't usually have a guest. So I'm always loving any time that I do have something a little different, whether it be a guest or something else that we've got going on. So giving you a little variety here on the Morning Mayhem. Guys, if this is your first time tuning in, this is the Morning Mayhem, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Friday mornings, I come out with the full show. It's around an hour long, usually, give or take. Usually more give than take, I guess. But then we cut up the segments and release those throughout the week. Little bite-sized pieces, I call those nuggets, release those throughout the week. Sometimes we do some shorts, little reels, been having some fun with those. But I do have some reaction videos that will definitely be coming out this week. I was holding off on those because I don't have an incredibly long shows, too many segments today to break up. A good portion of it's going to be spent probably on the interview side of it. So we'll release some reactions to help fill in some of those gaps throughout the week. Kind of keep you guys entertained on a regular basis. But guys, if you are new here, I do want to welcome you. Obviously, if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you guys coming in and tuning in on a regular basis. If you're not subscribed yet over on YouTube, we are getting very close to that 1,000 subs. Hey, would love for you to come over and hit that sub button. I think we're like, I don't know, 80 something away. Last time I checked, 80 something subs away. So would love to get there by the end of the month if we could. That would be awesome. Not, anything we absolutely have to do, but it'd be cool, right?
Do it! Just do it!
Okay, anyways, moving on. A couple of things, and we'll kind of go ahead and get on into it. Not this upcoming Monday, but the following Monday, that would be March 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, March 3rd. That is the first Monday of March. So as you guys know, if you've been watching for any time, I do a live stream the first Monday of every month. A lot of people do it daily, weekly, or something like that. I only do it once a month right now. Of course, that could change. Of course, on a regular basis, I do show up. There it is, Third Railify down there. I show up on Third Railify's Off the Rails on a weekly basis on Saturday nights. I think this Saturday night we have Chrissy Mayer, who is amazing. And we may have one or two more guests with her. It's going to be a really great show, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Tiny But Fierce is going to be there too. She's really cool. But gonna have a great show there Saturday night. But again, as far as I go, I only stream once a month. It's the first Monday of every month, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I always try to have a great panel. I will be announcing this upcoming Monday Night Mayhem's panel in the next week or so. So keep an eye on X or any of the other socials that are, linked down there in the show notes below. But this one's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a nerd stream. So we're going to be looking at some of the films and other projects that are coming out this year, some that may have already come out this year. Kind of see what we're thinking for 2025. So a little change of pace. I always try to come up with a theme or do something different on my stream. So this one will be fun, a little more loose, and a little less political, maybe. All right. Let's take a look at today's show. So let's go through and see what we have on today's show. Transgender vegan cult leader arrested. Yes, all those words were together in one statement. Transgender vegan cult leader arrested. That's a thing. Judge says only two genders is a lie. Of course they would. The Wicked Witch is now Jesus Christ. Oh, that's going to be a good one to get to right there. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, do have an interview coming up here at the end of the show. A very special guest, Society Reviews. We're going to be talking about the hypocrisy on the right. We tend to always call it the hypocrisy on the left, and really do a good job of that. But we want to be truthful and faithful and make sure we call out our own side too.
Nice.
So we're going to go through all that and maybe more. As we get rolling through the show, you never know how the ADHD hits, which I don't know if I have or not. I've been around enough. Is it contagious? I've been around Shauna through Railify, my wife, my child, my brother. Is that contagious? Anyways, back on track. Let's take a look at this week's clip of the week.
Now, the disruptor in chief, Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, tweeted this morning, "Democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge."
What he is saying there is true and pointed about the judge. His other part is possibly true. Maybe they are Harry. It's so fun to see like Elon and Trump and other people troll the media. The media has nothing left. Nothing. All they can talk about is them. So they know they're going to be the story. So why not troll them, right? And that's been a clip that's come out, or several other people referring to him as Harry Balls, or was it Big Balls that worked for Elon on Doge. So it's been awesome to see. So I do want to give another shout out to Leah again. Leah is someone who I've mentioned multiple times on the show, and she's always coming up with great clips to share. So I do want to thank you again, Leah. So shout out to Leah. I'll link her down in the show notes, and you can go give her a follow. She's a fun person. She's great. So I do try weekly usually on Mondays, to throw up the call for the clip of the week. And if you see that, go ahead and drop any videos, clips, links, whatever down in the comment section, and I'll check them out. Would love to show them on the show and give you a shout out. Looking for anything that's, exciting or interesting or, funny, and kind of go through and pick out what's going to be the best for that show. And usually I don't know what that's going to be until I kind of put everything together and put all the pieces together. So we'll see. But yeah, keep an eye on the call for the clip of the week. Again, usually Mondays. And you know what? You don't even have to wait for that. I mean, if you see something, you can hit me up. You guys know how to find me. So we're going to look at the transgender vegan cult.
Ha! Gay!
Scary, I know. The vegan part, especially, right? Those people are crazy. No, for real though. Let's shift back to gears. All right, the transgender vegan cult. So, what is up with the trans community? Because this isn't the only trans story that I can point to right now with some interest. Let's see. Here's a clip of a biological male, of course, pretending to be a woman, pretending to be a female, so that he can compete in women's sports. Listen to the verbiage here and see if you notice anything, and we'll see if we can't contradict that with the cult story.
I am willing to sit down with the IOC, the USATF, the NCAA, with any of my international federations, even the Trump administration, Trump himself. If he wants to sit down with me and talk and have a human conversation and see me.
What would you say to President Trump? What would your message be?
I need some explanation as to why you want to completely eradicate us from society when we've done nothing wrong.
How has life changed, or has life changed since President Trump's inauguration?
Oh my gosh. So I'm Black, I'm a woman, and I'm transgender, and I'm an athlete. Each of my identities is a target, especially in America. Prior to this set in stone administration, I woke up every day and I face adversaries when I leave my house. Now I wake up every day and I have to make sure that I make it home alive. It's really sad to see people going out of their way to make it known that you don't belong here.
I mean, you don't. I mean, not in a female sport, not in the female bathroom, not in a female locker room. I mean, am I wrong? Yes, you don't belong in those places. No question about it. But I feel bad for you. I feel sympathetic for you because I believe that, one, you're dealing with obviously a mental illness that you need to get help on, but two, you're also the victim of this push, this societal push that this is normal and this is okay, and you should be able to play dress up and be whatever you want to be just because you say so. Endless amounts of stories that are basically that. I heard one on Crowder the other day. I believe I should be a Marine or whatever it was just because that's what I want to be. Well, you know what? If you can't pass the test, you can't be one. Sorry. I mean, I can't be one. You guys know I'm in shape, you know, in the shape of like a pumpkin, but I'm in a shape, but I'm not in shape to be a Marine. It ain't going to happen. You know, not everybody can just be what they want to be. Sometimes reality hits you in the face. So you may want to be the best dude on the women's team, but Trump shut that down. So he's mad about that. And I'm going to call him he because he's a he, of course. He's mad about that. Wants to be able to compete. Says that why is Trump trying to eradicate him and people like him, which is what the left will continue to do as long as they're not called out. And again, the right will do this as well with some stuff, but the left is insanely good at this. And I say good as in bad, as in they latch onto anything emotional that they can grasp because they are the party of emotion. Feelings over facts, right? So here's this person who feels so endangered. Oh, okay, well, trans community is in danger. They're threatened on a daily basis, yada, yada, yada. We'll see who's really a threat and who's not. And again, countless stories for this too. Okay. And then the other part was, what was it? You can follow me around and I'll show you what it's like to live my life. And I'm a woman and all. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm sorry. You're a dude. You're a dude. But you're not in danger. Like we're not out there hunting trannies. I'm sure YouTube will love that line. We're not, no one's out there hunting them. Okay. People may dislike them. People may not agree with it. People may think that you don't belong here as far as the female sports goes. But that's about it. But if you want to talk about endangering a group of people, if you want to talk about where the line is on the crazies, let me introduce you to a transgender vegan cult. All right. I giggle because it's silly. This is redunculous. All right. So this from New York Post. It says, as Zizian cult leader is arrested, here's what the vegan transgender group believes. And other disturbing deaths members are linked to. So yes, there's actually been some murdering afoot with this transgender vegan group. And I would say I don't know what's driving them crazier, the vegan part or the transgender part, but I think we know. It's a little bit of both, right? Let's be real. I mean, they don't want any meat, not even their own, I guess. It was a bad joke. It was a terrible joke. Terrible human being. All right, let's read through some of this. We won't go through the whole thing. There was an error playing the video. Good. I can't stand these videos sometimes. It says mysterious alleged Zizian cult leader Jack LaSota was arrested alongside an accomplice in Maryland on Monday. The elusive head of the largely transgender vegan group. That's what the other thing. It's not a transgender leader. The group itself is largely transgender and vegan. But MAG is a cult, right? MAG is a cult. This is what the left has been breeding. This is what you've been curating for years. This is an example of what the left is. I'm just saying. Anyways, however, at the time, LaSota's arrest, he was wanted. At the time of LaSota's arrest, I'm going to get it together one day, guys. LaSota's arrest, he was wanted in both California and Pennsylvania. Taken into custody alongside LaSota was alleged followers Daniel Blank, 26, and Michelle Zajko, 32, a person of interest in the double murder of her parents, both fatally shot in their heads at their home on New Year's Eve of 2022. Holy crap. Holy crap. And it said her. We'll see if it's a her. Their deaths are 2 of 4 linked to the cult, which is based around Lesota 34, who previously went by Ziz online, alongside an elderly landowner in California and a Border Patrol agent killed in a shootout with another member of the cult, or the group, cult, in Vermont on January 20th. And there's the kind of the map, trail of bodies there. You see a Border Patrol agent up here in, what does it say, Coventry, Vermont there. And Felix Ophelia, part of the cult, was killed in the shootout, and they killed the Border Patrol guy. They also killed that's the parents right there in Chester Heights, PA. And over in Cali, you had the landowner that they were talking about. Throat was slit. Well, that was nice. And Emma Borjaniano, killed in self-defense by Lind. I don't know. So many moving parts here, so many crazies. A map showing the details, yada, yada, yada. All right, so there it is. That is the mastermind transgender vegan cult leader. Let me pull it out a little bit.
That's what she said.
Jack Lesota, a.k.a. Ziz, in his February 16th mugshot, provided by Allegheny County, Maryland Sheriff's Office. Although Lesota prefers female pronouns, he was booked by police as male. Good on you guys for that one. Because, there's like all these dudes like, I'm a chick, and then getting thrown in the female prison, and then like, hey, I'm going to have a little fun up in here. They didn't play ball on this one, so that's good. A little bit more. We'll dip on out of here. Let's see. Police say members of Zizian group could number as high as 30, and they appear to be mainly young trans women who are math and computer whizzes, who previously worked at NASA, Google, and on Wall Street. So these people are crazy. Because I will just tell you, math and computer whizzes, I'm a little bit of that. Not really, but I work with a bunch in IT, and very interesting people. I love who I work with. I'm not, going to talk about them because I work with them and I'm scared. Okay. But that's it. There's a chick that says she's a dude. These are the cult leaders, or the cult members rather. And it breaks it on down. They're in their 20s, their 30s. Yeah, this is the one right here. Michelle Zejko, 32, suspected of murdering her parents. Bought guns used in shooting, arrested February 16th. It's just, and then this one right here, a little pink here. I think this one was supposed to marry that one. It's disturbing. Okay. It's disturbing. But this is one example to the transgender we previously showed. That was the athlete that they're not under attack. They were the ones doing the attacking, right? Guys, I'm not going to read through this whole article. Links will be in the show notes below. They always are anytime I share anything. So check those out if you want to continue reading. But I wanted to hop over to this one. Who is Trendy Shockley? Teen accused of planning Valentine's Day school shooting. I know this seems like a shift real quick, but it was if we can get down to it. Here we go. You ready? Ready. Wait for it. Who is Trendy Shockley? According to court documents, Trendy, a 12th grader at Mooresville High School, goes by the name Jamie and identifies as And then we had the was it the Covenant a shooting was the transgender. I know Sean and I over at Third Railify, I say we, it was mostly him. We did a very, very deep dive into that manifesto, and it really explored not just that, oh, this person was trans, or this person just went crazy. This person was crazy. This person was alienated. This person was depressed. This person was probably also autistic. And that is something that you see a lot of times with this, is that a lot of these people that are transgender or buy into this kind of like violent mindset and are transgender are usually on the spectrum, usually on the autistic spectrum. And I wouldn't be surprised if we find out about that cult being that way, or this one here. And yeah, this prevented shooting is great. You didn't hear as much about it as if it would have went through, of course. But I continue to hope and pray that they treat it as seriously and look into it, and the information comes out that we need, and that studies can be done and kind of figure out what's going on. But just a crazy person. Again, transgender. I don't know what it is. I mean, I do a little bit, I guess. But what's up with the trans? Right? Are they being under attack, or are we the ones under attack by them? Real question. Real question, because the media will tell you one thing, but reality seems to tell a different story. Did you guys know about the transgender vegan cult? About the transgender potential school shooter that was stopped on Valentine's Day? Some of these stories seem to be, kind of swept under the rug. I wonder why. Sticking with the theme of the trans, okay, try to be good here. Sticking to the theme of the trans, we've got another article here from the Gateway Pundit. It says, crazed Biden judge signals she may block Trump's executive order on transgender troops. Says the assertion that only two genders exist is not biologically correct. Do you guys remember? I wish I had the clip, but do you guys remember the woman that testified in Congress and said that men could have babies and they call them butt babies? And they were the professionals.
Does a man get pregnant?
It's called rearing a child.
Are you sure?
With all due respect, sir, I'm the expert here.
I'm confused. What hole does the baby come out?
They're called rectal births or butt babies.
We live in a jacked up world, guys. I mean, where people actually believe that, look, I know oddities exist, right? Abnormalities. But by design, there is male and there is female. There's no question about that. No question about that in a logical, normal human being's mind. Again, this is a social experiment. I truly believe that, a social experiment. And it is targeting people that are, more than anything on the spectrum of some sort, have some kind of mental illness or mental handicap holding them back. That's definitely not anything we need in the military. Trump's point of this is like, look, you guys aren't going to get in the military on Tuesday, have your reassignment surgery on Wednesday, then get out of the military for one reason or another. We can't trust you out there, to be reliable because you're not in the right mental state. And I know this is going to offend some people. And I want to be very, very clear about this because, I got love for everybody in my heart. I really do. But my love is not to accept the mental illness and say, it's okay to be like this. And that I'm going to give in and believe this fake persona that you've created in this world that you live in. No. My love is, you're wrong. Let's help get you on the right track again. Let's talk this through. Let's see if we can't find you someone to talk to. Let me show you studies that will indicate what you're saying is inaccurate. That's the love. And some may call it tough love, but that is love. Giving in and being someone who pushes this on people, that's a predator, and that's just wrong. And again, we've got a lot of people in the upper echelon, the mainstream media, celebrities, politicians, influencers, you name it, that are peddling this crap and trying to manipulate people. And it's heartbreaking. All right. Going to go ahead and read through this very short article, if I'm not mistaken, so we'll knock it on out. Again, from the Gateway Pundit here. Looks sane to me. All right. A federal judge on Tuesday signaled she would side with a group of transgender soldiers who sued to block President Trump's executive order on transgender troops. Judge Anna Reyes, maybe, I don't know, a Biden appointee, shocking, grilled DOJ lawyers on Tuesday and said that Trump's executive order asserting there are only two genders is not biologically correct. She's a retard.
He was a retard.
With the DOD policy expected to be finalized over the coming week, I'm going to go with Reyes said she would hold off on issuing an order, but had largely made up her mind about the legality of the order, and at one point remarking that smarter people on the DC circuit would have to tell me I'm wrong. Smarter people would have to tell me I'm wrong. Wouldn't most people qualify as smarter if they understand that there's only male and female? I mean, that's not a hard thing to understand, I think. If she doesn't understand that, she's either a part of the problem that's pushing this, or she's part of the problem that actually believes it. And if that's the case, then she is not mentally well. She added that the central premise of the executive order, that only two genders exist, is not biologically correct. Yeah, it is. Last month, President Trump signed the Restoring America's Fighting Force Executive Order and the Prioritizing Military Excellence and Readiness Executive Orders, which direct every element of the U.S. military to operate free from any preference based on race or sex and root out gender insanity and made-up pronoun usage, respectively. I don't see a problem here. This order directs the Secretary of Defense to ensure that military service is reserved for those mentally and physically fit. Both of those go together. Okay? If you're a dude that thinks you're a chick, you're not mentally well. If we have to lower the bar for you to get in, you're not physically fit. Again, I question that about myself sometimes. I already know where I'm at on that one. I'm not gonna. No. And promptly issued directives for Department of Defense to invented an identification-based pronoun usage. The standards for our military troops are deemed inconsistent with the medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on individuals with gender dysphoria, which is what it is. It is the policy of the United States government to establish high standards for troop readiness, lethality, cohesion, honesty, humility, uniformity, and integrity, the order states. This policy is inconsistent with the medical, surgical, and mental health constraints on individuals with gender dysphoria. This policy is also inconsistent with shifting pronoun usage or use of pronouns that inaccurately reflect an individual's sex. Judge Reyes also grilled lawyers on the use of pronouns and gender ideology. If you were in a foxhole, you wouldn't care about these individuals' gender ideology, right? The judge asked. The judge did not issue a ruling on Tuesday. ABC News reported, yada, 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 yada. I will say, if you were in a foxhole, you wouldn't care about these individuals' gender ideology, right? Not necessarily. But if they're a dude that thinks they're a chick or a chick that thinks they're a dude, then I would be worried about their mental capabilities to trust them, to think that they can handle pressure, make good decisions, and have my back, protect each other. Yeah. So it's not specifically, do you think you're a boy or do you think you're a girl? It's not that. It's this. It's all jacked up. I think I do want to read this because I just saw something. ABC News reported a federal judge appears poised to block the Trump administration of the Department of Defense attempts to place limitations on or ban transgender service members. U.S. District Judge Anna Reyes is still hearing arguments Tuesday in the case, but signaled deep skepticism with the claim that transgender service members lessen the military's lethality or readiness. They do. This is the part. You and I both agree that the greatest fighting force that world history has ever seen is not going to be impacted in any way by less than 1% of the soldiers using different pronouns than others might want to call them. Would you agree with that? No, Your Honor, I'm not. I can't agree with that, a lawyer of the Department of Justice responded. Again, 1% or less than 1%. We have moved mountains, right? We have changed all order of society to please less than 1% of our population. You see how impactful that is. You can get canceled now for using the wrong pronouns. I mean, maybe not now, things are changing, right? You can get canceled for using the wrong pronouns. If your store doesn't have, the right kind of bathrooms or something, they can sue you or try to sue you or something. It's the world has catered to this less than 1%. So anytime somebody brings that up, it is BS. Like, no. Don't even play with me on that one, homeboy. Like, we are going to cater to these people, and you know that. Once they get in, we're going to cater to them. It's just true. It's what's going to happen. But yeah, there's that. So before I move on, I do want to mention where I got that story from, and that particular article did come from the Pure Blood Media Group site. You guys have seen it up here popping around or on the full screen. I've got it down here in the corner, but I am very fortunate to be part of the Pure Blood Media Group. It's a great group. In fact, there she went. Boom. A great group of content creators, commentators, journalists, entertainers, all kinds of stuff that are involved with Pure Blood Media Group. When you go to the website, the very first thing you run in is this amazing news aggregator. I love this news aggregator. You can go through, it's got your rolling articles, got more articles as you scroll on down. Every article that comes across this page, see, there it is up there, boom. Every article that comes across this page has to be triple verified. That means there has to be at least 3 sources that verify the authenticity of the story, the factuality of the story. So everything here has been fact checked by multiple sources. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to, ask if Facebook's going to fact check it or AP. No, it has been verified, triple sourced, verified. Every single article that runs across here. The news aggregator on this site is by far one of the best places to find top news that has been verified and fact checked. So I want to put a huge plug in for that. And also on their site, another really cool thing is the TV guide. The TV guide is a listing of all the shows that are going on at, any given moment. So looking at it right now, of course, Handy, I think, just wrapped up their show. Handy is kind of how I found out about Pure Blood and a great crowd that follows Handy around. But it shows you the time that they're live, who's coming on next. It's got the different days of the week. So if I go to say, where's this Saturday? Saturday, boom, pow. Scrolling down, there we are, third Railify right there. That is Sean's show that I go on and live stream on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So do check us out there. But this is cool. It just puts everybody together. And of course, it has me on there when I go live as well. So just want to put a plug in for Pure Blood Media Group. I probably don't mention them directly enough. I see there we go right there. But what a fantastic source of just great content creators, but also the news. That news aggregator is awesome. Awesome, awesome. So if you go there and you find your news articles there, you don't have to worry and wonder, like, am I getting real news? Is it left leaning? Is it right leaning? Is it true? Is it what? It's been verified. You can go there. Trust has been verified. So go check them out. news.purebloodmedia.group or news.pureblood.media, whatever. I got it linked down below. All right. All right. All right. Next story. You guys have probably already seen this one. Okay. This one's been floating around since the news broke. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an artist. You guys know that already about me if you've watched any amount of time. This one was quite interesting when I heard this news, because not only all that, but I'm also a Christian, so it caught my ear, right? Kind of caught my ear here. But of course, you guys know by now I'm probably talking about this. Yes, I am. Cynthia Erivo, or whatever her name is, to play Jesus in the new stage show, but Wicked stars casting divides fans. You guys remember her, Cynthia Erivo. Again, I think I'm saying it right. Yeah, yes, this Cynthia Erivo. Yeah, she looks Wicked from Wicked, right? If you've heard her And we'll get to a really funny little video here in a minute. But if you heard her talk or heard anybody build up her, it's not about just how great of an actress she is. It's I'm black, I'm gay, I'm non-biological, or I don't know what she is. She's kind of all over the place with that, and no one's been, coming from where she is to tell the story that she is in these roles. And she wanted to make sure she had the micro braids instead of the long wavy hair and Wicked. But heaven forbid somebody adjust the movie poster and put the shadow, over her face to make it match the original Wicked poster. And then she's, this is racism. This is racism. No, you're an idiot. All right. I don't know her. She's probably just a sweet person. Probably not. She's probably an idiot. She's probably a real jerk. Anyways, back to this article right here. Cynthia Erivo to play Jesus in the new stage show, which is Jesus Christ Superstar. Okay, you guys probably heard that before. It's a play. It's been a musical on a film, and I remember watching that when I was in chorus, and it was just very, very cheesy. But I kind of want to go back and watch it. I'm not gonna lie. Show it to my wife. Let's see. Cynthia Erivo will star as Jesus in a new production of Jesus Christ Superstar this summer in L.A., sparking an avalanche of reaction from fans. The Wicked actress, 38, announced she will take on the male title role in Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's classical musical set to run at the Hollywood Bowl between August 1st and August 3rd per Variety. Yep. I'm going to keep reading, then I'll give you some feedback. The current Best Actress Oscar nominee for her role as Elphaba in the blockbuster wrote on Instagram, just a little busy this summer, can't wait. Erivo previously played Mary Magdalene in an all-female version of Superstar in 2020, with Morgan James taking on the role of Jesus. The casting news divides fans, with some lambasting the casting of a woman as the male religious icon blasphemous, while others delight in the fresh take on the project. Of course they would. One fan wrote, "What the actual is going on?" while a second typed, "Absolutely friggin' blasphemy. You are mocking Christ the King." So there's our Jesus for the play there, the musical. That's her. All right. Look at them nails. She's always flaunting the nails. It's very, and we're not going to cover it, but I would say Society Reviews that I'm about to bring on, definitely go check out his channel, because he does hit on like the occultism and the evils and everything that is in Hollywood. And in fact, I should have put a plug in for this earlier. I apologize. I will be on Mom's Mysteries and Mayhem, which is a good friend of the show, Gina. She's been on Third Railify's Off the Rails with us numerous times. Met her through Lou's Views podcast, where I've been before as well. She has her own channel now, finally. Mom's Mysteries and Mayhem. And so she is bringing on the Mayhem this Sunday evening, and we were going to talk about some of that wickedness in Hollywood, some of the evils and whatnot that lurk there, and symbolism and all that good fun stuff. So I'm really, really excited about that. If I'll definitely have a link to her channel. I'll put that in the show notes below. Probably won't have a link to the show. So follow me on X. It's probably the best place. But I'll put her socials down there as well, and come watch that show, because it's going to be freaking awesome. Absolutely. And like I said, plug again for Society Reviews, because he goes into great, great depth about this kind of stuff too. But I couldn't help but notice that with her. I mean, she's always, look at my nails. I mean, she looks very sinisterly. Not that I'm one to talk about people's appearance, but I'm gonna. All right, moving on. Yeah, Jesus, I mean, let's be real, probably didn't look like that. And I'm okay with that. Let's just go on down here to the tweet. It says, "What the actual is going on? This is blasphemy. Jesus Christ is not a woman. Absolutely freaking blasphemy. You're mocking Christ the King. Hollywood really is just a fishbowl of like-minded individuals. Good luck with this one. We have now arrived at the seventh circle of hell. Stunning and brave. That little guy. Cynthia should be more careful about the role she gets. This is just plain disrespectful. This is reaching a level beyond blasphemy, getting sick of seeing her everywhere now. So I hadn't really seen her a lot of places, but I know that feeling. I know that feeling. There's a couple of actors or actresses I'm just kind of over too. And I'm like, ugh. Let's see. Please. Whatever, nothing matters. Set your money on fire, production company. I don't care. She's extremely talented, no doubt. And no doubt slay, and doubly if it pisses off the MAGA Billies and Leon lovers. This if great. Okay. D-balls. Bless you, D-balls. And then, of course, it did go in to say that, the people were like, heck yeah, the MAGA folks are going to be really upset about this. The MAGA snowflakes, da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's kind of a rough look for her right there. I will cut over to this real quick, and then we'll get back to this. But I don't know if you guys have seen her and Ariana Grande before Wicked versus after Wicked. It's very interesting. Yeah, so you see over there on the left, and this is from somebody's TikTok, I want to say it was, but I've seen these before, and it just caught my attention. Like the picture on the left before, when they were running, red carpets and all over the place prior to doing Wicked, and then after, again, there she is with the nails and everything. But look at Ariana, super thin, super pale. This one here, Arrivo, is super thin, and just what happened? What happened? I don't know. Okay. A lot of people saw like Chadwick Boseman when he was literally dying of cancer, and they're like, oh, he looks cracked out. He gotten into drugs and da da. So I don't want to guess what may have happened here, but it's interesting that both lead actresses have kind of had this body transformation. And it's not a great one. So, I mean, if they're doing it for a role, like the Christian Bales and folks like that out there do it, cool. But both of them, sounds like something Wicked was going on with Wicked, maybe, potentially. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so I pulled this up just to make sure I wasn't tripping. Because sometimes we can hear things in the news, and they're making a big deal out of it, so we make a big deal out of it, and it's like, oh man, you're tripping. There's always been women playing Jesus. So I pulled it up, and just to see. So from Wikipedia, from 1971, it has always been a male playing Jesus Christ. Always. Always, 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 always. Even if they were a alleged pedo. But still, I mean, I'm sure some of these guys probably weren't the greatest people on earth and whatnot, but they were dudes. They were dudes playing a guy. It doesn't super duper upset me because I don't care about all that. I'm not into the stage plays that much. I don't care about the liberal arts that much. I know you're thinking, Chris, aren't you an internationally award-winning filmmaker? Why? Yes, I am. But my point is, they have bastardized art to what it is today, and really taken the joy and the freedom and the expression out of it, and used it to be a tool, an extension, if you will, of their agenda of pushing the propaganda that they want to push. Yes, you can say there's always been messaging and agendas and propaganda in film, and you wouldn't be wrong. But this everything lately just takes it to a new level. I remember watching movies and films and shows and cartoons and even plays and just enjoying them and just being able to escape and enjoy them. Now it seems like every one of them's got some kind of agenda or message at heart, and it just drives me nuts. I don't know. With that, I did find this very, very fun clip of an interview or a recreation of the interview. One of the interviews they did with the cast of Wicked, with her and Ariana, and let's enjoy this one together. And I will link this in the show notes below. This guy here, Al Berry, unless that's AI Berry, but Al Berry only has 30,000 subs. I know that's way more than I do. And at the time of watching this, only had 8,000 views, and it's been up for a couple of months. So We'll link that down in the show notes below. Please go check it out and support the artist here. This is just too funny.
I'm here with the stars of Wicked, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Tell me, what's it like being the stars of Wicked? I just have to say, I'm black and gay, and that makes me the most important person in the entire film. I know exactly what Afalba is going through. In fact, I was paid a measly $1 million for the film, and that means I'm oppressed. Did I mention I'm black and gay?
Oh, sweetheart, you're truly the most important person in the entire world.
I really am. Oh, what's happening to me? Help me, Ariana.
Oh, sweetheart, you're being chosen.
Oh, I sold out years ago and I'm a coward. Where am I?
You're on my ship, the non-binary. My name is Everest, and my pronouns are they, them. I beamed you here because you're the most important person in the entire universe.
Thank you. I agree. But what am I here for?
Our universe is in grave danger. You see, what you know to be pronouns and race labels are actually a ranking system and a universal hierarchy. Take a look. At the bottom are straight whites. Then it's minorities and the regular gay and lesbians. Then it's the non-binaries, like me. We're the second most intelligent beings in the entire universe. Then it's gods, like you. The only other in that tier is Xerxes. He's also black and gay and ruled the universe. But it turns out he's a lemon and nobody likes him. Now you must take over and restore peace.
I have one thing to say. Thank me that I'm black and gay.
That's a good representation because literally that was the biggest thing being pushed, right? Black and gay, not trans, or I mean, maybe it was bi or fluid or gay, I don't know, just something. That's all they ever push anymore. You know, the gayest Star Wars ever. This is going to be the gayest film ever. It's the gayest Marvel. Just make a good film. I've been saying that for a long time. As a filmmaker, I just want a good film. That's it. Make sure I don't skip anything here because we are getting into the show now. Yep, I think that's pretty much it. But yeah, I just, what do you do? Is it blasphemous? I don't know if I'd go that far. Part of me says, yes, it is. But at the same time, like, they're in a play. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not like they're actually trying to tell the story of Jesus Christ from an educational perspective, from the pulpit or anything like that. You know, that would be different. That would be different. But for this, I don't know if I'd necessarily go blasphemy, but definitely not something I would have done. She's the first one. Again, don't have a problem with a black person playing Jesus, because let's be real, it's quite more likely that Jesus was black, or at least some shade of melanin over there, more than he looked like this. You with me? And I don't care. In fact, I'm actually friends with Black Jesus. I know you're thinking, Cartoon Network or Adult Swim or whatever it was, Black Jesus. Not exactly. But it's funny because my friend who's been in some of my films, he was Black Jesus up in New York and got casted to play Jesus in a Passion play. He had death threats and all kinds of stuff. I may see if I can't get him on the show. He may be a fun one to talk to about that as we get a little closer to this one coming out, the stage play with a black gay thing as Christ. I don't even know. Guys, thank you for sticking around with me so far. I am super, super thrilled now. We're going to bring on a friend of the show, someone I've been following for a little while. And found him through another show that I was on at one point in time, MSK, and seems to be a really great guy. Puts out great content, especially his Sunday morning shows or Sunday evening shows. Forget exactly when they are. I usually watch them Monday mornings while I'm at work or listen to them passively there. But does a great job breaking down the Bible, biblical stories, and whatnot. But he's more than that. He's a writer for Bounding Into Comics. He's a critic. He's all into the pop culture news and all that good stuff. Very similar to some of the stuff that I cover. So I'm very thrilled to have him on this show, and I hope he'll come back on again. So guys, without any further ado, please help me welcome onto the show for the very first time, Society Reviews. All right, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for being with me today. I've found you I was telling you a little while ago. I found you through MSK, and been starting to follow you and checking in on you. And you've got a great Sunday show that you do, and then you've got other shows that you do throughout the week. And I try one of the hardest things for me to do is follow and watch everybody's show that I'm like semi networking with and following and trying to support and stuff like that. So I have like a calendar of like when people's shows come out, and I try to watch them when I can, but then I'm like, I forget I have a family sometimes, but but
sounds like the name of a movie.
Yeah. But I have enjoyed watching you, and we've spoke about maybe doing something in April to talk about faith. We're not doing that tonight necessarily, but really, really appreciate your deep dives on all that. And I think a lot of you, but welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I know MSK is probably not the best glowing recommendation for a lot of people. As you tell people to come from MSK, it's like, oh God, either one of those things. Like, no, trust me, I'm not him at all. But I am. I'm here on the show occasionally, so yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, he seems to have a pretty good rotating panel of folks, and everybody that's been on there I've talked to is pretty cool. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on. So what I've got you on today for is we were talking about kind of DMing about the hypocrisy on the right. So this past Sunday show, you were talking about that. I was telling you too that another guy I watched, Mark Dice, big guy, been around for a long time. He was talking about this too, and I find myself really fortunate to be surrounded by people that aren't afraid to call out our own side. If we see Trump do wrong, we're going to call Trump out for doing what he's doing. I don't love some of the things that Trump has done. I did not vote for him in 2016. I voted for what's his name, Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate. And then in 2020, I voted for him, and we got that whole thing. But yeah, definitely voted for him this time because, again, a lot of it is how the media presented it. A lot of it is, okay, are you hiring this person because of their morals or because of the job you're trying to get them to do? So I had to weigh all that out. But yeah, I don't love a lot about what Trump does in his personal life or has done in his personal life, and I have no problem calling that out. He's not free from judgment as far as I'm concerned. And he should be scrutinized for things he does wrong, especially now that he's on, I say the taxpayers' dollars, even though he's not taking the payroll. He's still there to do a job for us. So Elon Musk, any of them, and of course the Elon Musk thing, I mentioned that because that's kind of what got this conversation started. And you were talking about it Sunday. So if you want to, because I think you've looked into this a little bit more than I have. I know you did a really great story, and I don't want you to take away from it. In fact, I'm going to link to your Sunday show in the show notes below, guys. Please go check him out. Great show every Sunday, by the way. But this past one was one of 3, I think.
Yeah, part 3. So we got a couple more coming up. But yeah, it was part 3 yesterday. So essentially, last night I was doing a series that was about, satanic panic and kind of the biblical truth about what was actually going on during that time frame, because there's kind of a secular narrative about what was happening in the 80s and the 90s regarding that. It's basically like, oh, these wacky Christians were saying everything was from the devil and they were just going insane. And then we start going deeper into kind of like, well, you noticed a lot of your musicians back then in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they were all inspired by well-known Satanists like Anton LaVey and Aleister Crowley, and they started influencing a lot of that into their music, and there was a lot of Eastern mysticism in their music, and then a lot of them just straight up admitted to like, oh, by the way, I have a spirit that talks to me that gives me all the lyrics to these songs. And it's like, when you start hearing it from their own words, you start going, I think there was probably a little something more going on here, right? But for last night's episode, I was talking in context of the sexual revolution that happened in the 1960s and the 1970s, which I think 65 years later has still have a detrimental effect of our society, especially as far as, gender relationships, modern relationships between men and women. If you look back on what we were pushing in the 60s to where we are now, you see that we definitely got the short end of the stick pretty severely there. And so the story, what happened is that late Friday, where we were doing another stream, which ironically enough, we were having a conversation midstream about how men need to be more accountable for partaking in women's poor life choices, meaning that, this is, for example, we talk about these women on OnlyFans who who get paid millions of dollars to show their bodies on OnlyFans, and we say that, no, this is bad. Why are women like promoting this, doing this stuff to their bodies? At the same time, there are men out there who are paying God knows how much money to these girls just to see pictures of them naked, and it's like, so there is a level of responsibility on both the men and the woman in that dynamic here, right? But on the same token, as we were doing the show, Ashley St. Clair, who I guess is a conservative influencer on social media, right wing, you know, she's in that bubble of like, you know, the Milos and the Dave Rubins and stuff like that. So
a grifter is my understanding.
I mean,
little grift in here and there. I don't know.
I wouldn't even argue against it at this point, especially with what the direction of this whole thing is. So late Friday night, she came out with a post saying, hey, by the way, that kid that I have 5 months ago, it was Elon Musk's baby. So I'm coming out with this now because apparently the media is coming out with a hit job and they're going to expose the truth. So I'm going to get out in front of this and tell everyone that, by the way, I slept with the world's richest man a few months ago. And then all of a sudden, yeah, exactly right. But now all of a sudden, you know, I'm raising his kid. So as a result of this, people start going, there are some people who are like, wait a second, you're a conservative influencer who's been very prominent and vocal about being against single motherhood and stuff like that, already being a single mother yourself. You had a kid with another guy who you're not currently with, and now you have two baby daddies and two different kids now, but you're still going to be a voice of reason, quote unquote, for the right. It's like, how does that work in any way, shape, or form whatsoever? You can very easily call her a hypocrite, among other things that you can probably say and not say here on YouTube, right? So as a result of this, there are people who was like, what are you doing? Like, what? So basically all those rumors about you being promiscuous and sleeping with anyone to get ahead, being the grifter, it seems like it's all true if you've come out publicly admitted that, hey, by the way, you slept with Elon Musk and now you're having his kid. Allegedly, we still don't know, but I mean, who knows? We'll figure out in the next few days how that whole falls apart. And then as a result of this, surprisingly enough, there were a lot of people on the right who were seemingly defending this and congratulating her as if somehow she had just made an announcement. It's like, oh guys, we're having a baby. Like there was like some kind of like gender reveal like thing. It's like, oh, me and blah 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 are having our first kid, and everyone's like, oh my god, congratulations. Like that's not what happened here. She literally just admitted to having a one-night stand with Elon Musk and having this kid, and apparently Elon's not even really in the picture. It's not like, you know, they were dating secretly behind the scenes and now it's come public. It's like they just slept together. He's apparently not even talking to her. She's basically trying to get his attention on the Twitter platform, and that's not really going very well. So why is everyone trying to, I guess, protect this Ashley St. Clair woman and Elon Musk for being fornicators and for being basically liars, hypocrites on the highest level? Why are we pretending like they're somehow in the right here? And it's because it's from two perspectives that I've noticed. One is that, you know, you have these people on the right who are just like, I don't care what anyone does, you know, behind closed doors, I just want to win. So in other words, they'll really look a blind eye at absolutely anything if they feel like that they're quote unquote winning in the culture war, right? That's their view of things. Then you have people who are too close to both Ashley and Elon Musk to be honest about what's going on here, and they don't want to rock the boat. So it's like they don't want to burn their bridge with Elon Musk or burn their bridge with Ashley St. Clair. So they'll pretend like that, oh no, I'm so happy for you, I'm all here with you and whatnot, instead of going, wait a minute, like what are we doing here? Because if you're the face of, oh, I'm so against single motherhood, this is not what we should be promoting in our society, blah, 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 and then you just became baby mama number 4 to a guy who already has like 11 children before you, those things don't really jive. Like, you know, at some point you have to like look in the mirror and be like, what are we actually doing here as a movement? Or is the whole thing just pro wrestling now? Is it just phony? Because if it's all phony, just tell me that it's phony, and I'll cheer along like, you know, we would cheer along Macho Man Randy Savage back in the day if I know this is all fake. So it's like, let me know where this whole thing is going, because it seems like right now, if you're trying to get into the sphere of right-wing politics, it's all just one massive grift with a bunch of hypocrites who have just been popularized over the course of the last 10 years, making it seem like they actually stand for something when they stand for absolutely nothing. And it's kind of a bigger problem here too, where it's like, I've heard stories, especially in that DC circle over there, that the stuff that goes on behind closed doors at these, you know, TP USA events and the CPAC events, they're basically no different than what you see at the leftist events here too. So it's like, again, what are we actually doing here? Is this just Monday Night Raw at this point? Because like, if that's the case, I can go watch something else.
There you go. Yeah, so it is funny to see, and not funny really, but
funny and sad.
Yes, I mean, I think we've all always kind of been on the same page as far as like, all right, we know politicians are hypocrites. You know, if the left does something or calls out something on the right, there's a pretty good chance they've done it themselves, you know, or they actually support it behind closed doors. If they didn't support it in front of the cameras 4 to 8 years ago when we had a different president or something like that. And plenty of evidence of that. We're seeing that over and over again. That happens on the left and the right. I think it's stupid. I hate it. I wish they'd stop. But like you're saying, we've moved now to where, and Elon, I don't know if he was the one that kind of coined it, but we move now to this new media, which is us, you know, us being out here with our platforms, speaking of power, speaking the truth, you know, providing receipts usually with everything that we present versus what mainstream media does, or the legacy media, we'll call them, because they're on the way out, hopefully. But we're not the politicians. We're not the legacy media. We're not part of the establishment. We're free media, independent media. And we're out here sharing these stories and putting, you know, we have our own bias and perspective on there, but the accuracy and unbiased is significantly greater than what you find in legacy media. But you see so many on the right fall suit with what the left has done for so longer. And like you were saying, just, they're just kind of saying the same thing. It's like, oh, well, it's wrong when you do it. It's okay when we do it. You know, hey, here's one of ours. It's fine. You know, I don't know if Charlie Kirk has commented on it, but you mentioned TP USA, and I know he's a big one, that big advocate of, you know, single parent homes, you know, being an advocate against that, rather, you know, speaking out against that, fatherless homes and everything like that. And then, you know, I can see somebody like that coming in here and saying, hey, you know, congratulations. And look, I think Elon does some great work. No question about it. I don't put him on a pedestal. I don't think he's the greatest human being that's ever lived. I'm sorry. There's only been one perfect person that I know of that's ever walked this earth, and he ain't it. Far from it, in fact.
He's not brain chip guy. That I can tell you that much. So.
Dude, right. So, you know, if the rumor mill is correct and what they're reporting is correct as far as how active he is in his other kids' lives, he's not going to be that active in this one either. And it's going to be a fatherless home situation. And I'm sorry, like you were saying on Sunday's show, and I'm not a preacher, but I did ask to preach one Sunday morning, share a sermon one Sunday morning, and I did it on Father's Day, 2024 or 3. I can't remember. 3, I think. And my biggest thing was I was talking about, I had the stats, the numbers, every little thing down that I could find of fatherless homes. And of course I was talking about fatherless homes like you and me, but also fatherless, you know, homes without God, and showing the correlation of how drastic of a change it is having a father present versus no father present. And a lot of people on the right support that same ideology. And like, yes, fathers need to be in the homes. Fathers need to be present. Fathers need to be active in their kids' lives. But then also, hey, great job on getting knocked up by one of the wealthiest men in this country, if not the world, you know, one of the wealthiest men. And, you know, you're taken care of for life. You basically hit the jackpot. That's what we're congratulating her on. They're not congratulating on her, even though they say it in the comments, on growing your family. It's not a family. I'm sorry. If mom and dad aren't together, that I have a hard time even calling that a family. Like, I get it. Sometimes there are, you know, single fathers or single mothers, and it just has to be that way for one reason or another. It is what it is. My heart goes out to you. I wish things were perfect, but this isn't one of those situations. Like, come on. No. Like you said, was there dating? There definitely wasn't marriage. Like, there was no attempt at all to make this a family. And that breaks my heart, because I would love to see that, especially a triumph by the right, because the right is supposed to be the conservative, the more Christian leaning, you know, the more right as far as like right mindset, you know, going down the right path kind of thing. I feel like this is just one of the examples, but it's the most recent one. One of the examples where we just drop the ball and end up getting egg on our face.
which makes you beg the question, like, why are we even listening to these people in the first place? You know what I mean? It's like, what makes any of these people, quote unquote, better influencers of the culture than me or you or anything else like that? Just because they have more Twitter followers, because they have more YouTube followers? It's like, especially when it comes to, like, you know, the women, because I think for women it's very easy for them to get into, quote unquote, the right-wing sphere and try to convince everyone that they're all conservative and that they're Christian and all this other stuff, because they say a few things that sound good and the next thing you know everyone starts swarming like to them, but they don't have any kind of lifestyle that makes people believe that they actually practice what they preach or they actually believe anything that they're saying. Because I mean, Ashley St. Clair is not the first right-wing influencer who's been exposed in some kind of sex scandal in just the last 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years. I mean, this is kind of an often thing that we're seeing over and over again, but because this sphere allows so much attention to people, that's really which is what they crave. They crave the attention, they crave the influence, and they'll say whatever they want. They give you all the window dressing you could possibly ask for, but they don't actually really believe in anything that they're saying here. And if these are the people who we're quote unquote propping up because they're on our side, then it's like our side is basically a house of cards as it stands anyway. So like what are we actually like fighting against here? This is supposed to be, if we're looking at this as quote unquote a culture war and we're battling, you know, the big red dragon, like who do we have on our side that's actually going to put up a fight? Because if this is the case, we're going to get like BTFO'd pretty swiftly.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with every bit of that. And, you know, one of our biggest fights is, you know, like abortion. You know, we talk about that all the time. The fathers don't have any say. You know, the father should have some say if they should be able to be aborted or not. At least that, you know, they bring that up in the conversation as kind of a pushback point. They're like, well, no, it's not. It's my body, my choice. It's like, well, no, it's not, because the father, you know, there's always that element that there's always that constant push for the father to be present, for it to be the family conversation, which of course, obviously we don't want the abortion anyway, but they keep putting that out there. Like, what about introducing the father back into the equation? Giving the man the equal rights. Well, here we kind of let the guy slide, and it's like, hey, you know, you're sowing your seeds. Good for you. You know, let me sit back here and applaud you like I'm a Andrew Tate or, you know, an MSK or whatever. You know, let me go, woo, spread that seed, buddy. You know,
Yeah, right.
but I do feel like we have to walk this really. There's like this really tight rope that we have to walk on, both as I think the conservative party. And I say conservative, I guess it's the Republican Party. I don't know if I'm definitely more conservative.
I mean, neither one of them seem very conservative at this point, right?
Right. But also as a Christian. So one of the things I covered this past week, and a buddy of mine, Third Railify, I was mentioning him earlier. I got his take on it, and that was, you know, Tim Pool never coming over to Rumble, and now he's coming over to Rumble, and everybody's lauding him like this big deal, like, oh, Tim Pool's finally coming over to Rumble, after everybody else kind of paved the way and made it safe for him to come over and profitable for him to come over. He's like, I'm finally coming over. And then you've got people that's not a grift, but that's just one example of somebody, you know, shifting gears a little bit to the free speech platforms. But then you've got the other part of the conversation that I had, which was, and Chrissy Mayer called it out. Shout out Chrissy Mayer. But Brett Cooper was talking about cancel culture on the right. And that was her first show back. And she was talking about like, what's her name? Whitney Cummings on New Year's. How she was just for 5 minutes straight, 10 minutes straight. She was just rolling, knocking against Biden and the left and CNN and the pharmaceutical companies and all that. And people were like, oh my God, this is crazy. I can't believe she's been taken off the air. This is nuts. And then the rest of us are like, it's kind of safe now though. Like, why are we applauding her right now in 2025? I mean, if she did this 2-3 years ago, that'd be different.
If she did this in 2020, then it would be a completely different situation. But, you know, you've noticed that there's been a number of celebrities who have very, very quietly flipped on a number of key issues. Like, now all of a sudden people are being like, well, you know, I don't really know about, you know, all those vaccines that we made everyone get a few years ago. Like, maybe those lockdowns weren't such a good idea. It's like, well, you know, Biden, I mean, maybe he wasn't all there. It's like, where was this 5 years ago when everyone else was saying it and everyone else was getting censored online for making the exact same point? Now that there's not a push to quote unquote curl disinformation or misinformation, now everyone can openly say what we were saying 5 years ago, and now they're being paraded as some kind of heroes because they spoke out at a time where it was safe for their careers to actually speak out against it.
That's right. But that goes back to the walking the tight line, right? The little tightrope here. So it's like, okay, do we accept them over and without judgment? Or like you were saying, I think you were saying, I want to say it was you on your show, was saying, do we still hold them accountable for what they did? Do we still call out the wrongs and say, look, it's great that you're over here now. If that's truly where you are and that's truly what you feel, like coming to the Lord, like, but you got to recognize your past sins. You got to come to terms with that. You got to make peace with that. You got to account for that in some way, like Zuckerberg, like, hey, I think Trump's a badass now. And, and I'm going to open up and I'm going to do all this and that. Okay, but what about everything you did? What about all that stuff you did? Whitney Cummings, I think it's great that you did a 5-minute little piece on CNN, and a lot of the stuff that you're asking questions about now and saying now are, a little safer, sure. A little interesting, as far as what you're still pushing against, but at the same time, it's safe. It's okay. Where was this at? And you criticized folks before in the past. You had vaccine mandates at your show and everything. Like where are we going? What's going on here?
For a lot of these people, like for a lot of these people, it's just the fact that, now they've realized that throwing the pom-poms for the left is no longer convenient for them and convenient for their career anymore. So they're trying to essentially drum up a new fan base with like the other side. We've seen a few people do this over the last few years. Like Michael Rappaport is a perfect example of this. Michael Rappaport, you go back 8 years to what this guy was saying. Like he was like every single day video about he hates Trump and he can't stand Trump supporters and F Trump, F this and all this stuff. Then he realized a couple of years ago that his side, the left, especially the ones in New York, were very, very anti-Semitic and didn't exactly support a lot of his views on, the whole Palestine-Israel situation. Mm-hmm. So over the last year, he's all of a sudden done a complete 180. He started saying a lot of positive things about Trump and started saying a lot of positive things about, Israel and the right. And now all of a sudden he isn't, that anti-Trump guy that he was a few years ago. Eddie Griffin's another guy who does a complete 180. You go back to some of the things that he said and did on video regarding, conservatives and the left, the right and all this other stuff. Now all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, I don't believe we actually went to the moon. And it's like, oh, okay, so here comes this guy now. And like there's a number of people who you can like throw in there as well. Like you mentioned what's his face, the Facebook dude, Zuckerberg,
yeah.
He came out on Joe Rogan trying to make it seem like, oh, I totally agree with everyone that I've been censoring over the last several years that I agree with now. And instead of actually taking accountability, and this is kind of the problem here, because none of these guys have actually taken accountability for what they said in the past. What Zuckerberg tried to do was that, oh, it was the pressure from the Biden administration, man. I my hands were tied. There was nothing that I can do. So yeah, a lot of you guys got boned on, Instagram and Facebook over the last several years. But I couldn't say no to Biden. What could I possibly do? So it's like now all of a sudden he wants to present himself as if he's your friend when quite literally, like I said, all the stuff that and all these people were saying 5 years ago, you were getting knocked off of these platforms 5 years ago for saying the exact same thing. They wouldn't allow you to say that, oh, maybe the election was a little fishy there. What happened to all those 4 a.m. votes? You weren't allowed to say that 5 years ago.
Right.
You weren't allowed to say that, hey, these lockdowns and everyone trying to shut down the country and the world and the economy was bad. You weren't allowed to say that 5 years ago. You certainly weren't allowed to say, hey, why are we trying to force everyone to take these shots here? And none of these things have even been verified or whatever the case may be. Hell, to this day, you still can't say that. Isn't it weird that a lot of people seem to be dying of like, I don't know, heart attacks and turbo cancers that just kind of came out of nowhere? And it's like really, really young people are getting it now. What could have possibly changed over the last few years that could have caused this? You're still not allowed to make that connection now. But all of a sudden, these people are your friends. All of a sudden, they're the good guys in this scenario. It's like, really? Is that the angle that we're going to try to work here?
Yeah. That's what they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then talking about hypocrites and kind of the grifting thing. And I think you not hit on her. You mentioned her
first.
You mentioned her again in your show. I think it's the chick that looks like Wendy from Wendy's with the red hair that was like the OnlyFans or whatever. And now she's like super Christian and everything.
Yeah, her name was Nalia. So the funny thing with Nalia is that, I actually defended her because unlike a lot of the other women who have tried to go to like this grift of this slow grift of like, oh, I'm Christian, oh, I'm conservative now. She's one of the few women who's actually taken somewhat accountability for her past and for the things that she has done, like publicly. And it's like, especially guys in our sphere, what do we always say? It's like, wouldn't it be great if women actually were held accountable and took accountability for like their past actions? And she's one of the few who's actually done that so far. So I give her credit more than I give people like Ashley St. Clair and Lauren Southern and a few other women in their sphere who have basically avoided any kind of accountability for a multitude of things they've done, right? So it's like, I defended her, be like, hey, look, if she's genuine, she's admitted to the things that she's done. She says she's not proud of them. She's trying to move away from those things. If someone is genuinely seeking repentance for the things that they have done in the past, we should afford that to them. The problem is that we're trying to award people forgiveness and quote unquote repentance for people who haven't actually taken any accountability for the wrongdoings in their life. It's like, how many times have you heard the story of like a woman who just broke up with her boyfriend and she was doing all kinds of debaucherous stuff from like drugs to sex and alcohol and all these terrible things. But then when they break up, what's the first thing that she says? Oh, it was all his fault. I was following him. He was making me do all these things. He was the problem. But now that I'm separated from him, now I'm good again, right? No accountability for anything that you actually partake in the whole time period, right? And you just go on from the next guy to the next guy making the same mistakes and the same mistakes. If there's no accountability, there's no genuine change of heart. It's just like you're just passing the buck of your decision making on somebody else. It was somebody else's fault. And because all you've done is blame that person and taking no accountability of yourself, you're just going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And when I publicly pointed this out to a few people who are supposed to be on our side, I got a lot of pushback from people, and to the point where people were getting very, very angry about me pointing out, hey, look, this is a girl who's admitting to sleeping around with high profile people on the right. She's now a 2-time single mother. She's not who she says that she is. She's a harlot at best, and at worst, there's a whole bunch of things that I probably can't say on YouTube right now. But if we can't admit that from an objective standpoint, it's like, what are we doing? It's like, why are so many people willingly jumping on the grenade hill to take one for this woman who's basically spit in the face at everything that she claims that she believes in and everything you guys supposedly believe in? It's like, why is it that we can't have an honest conversation about what's going on here? Is it the fact that you guys have skeletons in your closet for yourselves and you can't look at this situation objectively because you notice that you've basically been guilty of the same things that she's now publicly been ousted for? So you're kind of defending her in this realm of, well, by defending her, I'm defending me from these allegations of things that I should probably come clean with myself. You don't want to take that accountability, and that's the hiccup here? Or is it the fact that you've just been promoting this person's lifestyle for so many years and still promoting it, that even when her immorality gets shined to the light where everyone can see it, you morally can't make a stand and say, okay, this is bad, this is wrong, because you're the one who's out there actively promoting this lifestyle. So you have two sides here that when it comes to particularly the sexual sins of women, they just can't be honest about what's really going on. Now, if we're talking about the sexual sins of men, we can have a problem about that, no problem. I mean, let's be honest here. Elon Musk, 11 kids, 4 women. That's not exactly something that we would promote around here. We have no problem talking about the baby mama drama of people like Nick Cannon and Tyreek Hill and Antonio Cromartie, who have like 15 kids with like 7 and 8 different women. We have no problem talking about that and shaming those guys. Why can we do that for the men, but we can't do that for the women? Why is it that everyone has to get emotionally involved when the women are being discussed for their essentially immoral behavior, but it doesn't work the same way? And because too many people are emotionally involved in that whole thing, we can't have an honest conversation about what's going on in our society, and our society is only getting worse as a result of that because no one's taking accountability.
So I feel like when you talk when you breathe out and when you breathe in, because I never hear you take a breath. It is just so constant. Like your brain is moving so fast and your mouth is able to keep up. Yeah. Mine doesn't work that way. So I love that about how you're rolling. It's an amazing
It's
gift.
kind of like a powder keg mentality. It's like when you go, you just go.
It's an amazing gift. Hey, I want to close with this, and this again is kind of what I was just mentioning, but again, I think it kind of brings it all together. The left, like just really says, hey, you know, diversity, equity, inclusion. We are the party of all that. We're the party of inclusion, and we want everyone to feel loved. And well, oh wait, you think differently than us? No, you got to go away. I mean, they call MAGA the cult, but really, when you look at it, it really seems like if you're not in lockstep with everything that they believe in and everything they support and everything they push, you know, pro-abortion, pro-LGBTQIA, blah, 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 to something, whatever that is, you know, pro, you know, single family homes, pro, transitioning kids, like you are a leper, you know, get away from us. So the right has in recent times been exceptionally more inclusive in allowing these people to come over, embracing them. We can just look at our current cabinet, right? Or administration with like the RFKs, the Tulsi Gabbards, I don't want to say Vivek, but you know, he was on there. Even Donald Trump was a Democrat. You know, it's just people have migrated over this. Some of it's legit, some of it's real. We were talking about the OnlyFans chick becoming a Christian. You got the same. You got a lot of people coming over genuinely wanting to change their life and be better and to serve the Lord and accepted him as their savior. And then you got some of them that may be grifting. You know, how do we strengthen ourselves as a, you know, I don't know if you want to say Christians, but anybody on this conservative side, how do we strengthen our positions, our base, you know, the people that are over here, our voter base, our pool, our faith base, whatever. How do we strengthen and grow it without bringing in the wrong people? How can we sift through these people and figure out you're legit, you're not, you need to be criticized, you're not, outside of just being an equal judge of like, if I'm going to call this out on the left, I need to call it out on the right. Outside of something like that, like, how do we walk that line? What is the sifting tool that we should be using? Any thoughts on how we kind of figure that out, or is it trial by error?
There's a simple answer, but people aren't going to like it. It's actually standing for what you claim to believe in, right? Because, I mean, as you mentioned here, we've let in so many people who, you know, just say the quote unquote the right things publicly, and then we just embrace them with open arms, not being like, hey, wasn't this the same guy just a few years ago who said this or that? This is the same guy who allowed in who supported a lot of these policies that we're being hampered with now. Like, there's no actual accountability for the people that we're just letting in. We're just letting them in because essentially we're trying to prove that somehow we're just as open and accepting as the left is, because they always accuse us of not being open and accepting. But if we just start letting, you know, trans people in and gay people in, we can show the left and no, we're just as accepting as these guys. Well, in the process of doing that, you slowly just become them. Like, and this is kind of like the running joke when it comes to politics, that the right is basically just where the left was 10 years ago. And, you know, they haven't progressed to where the left is yet. It's because we're always essentially moving the line and moving the line and moving the line. And as a result of that, our two biggest leaders, quote unquote, right now in our movement is Donald Trump, who, for all, you know, the good Donald Trump has done, let's be honest here. Donald Trump, lifelong Democrat, didn't really turn Republican until about like a decade and a half ago, somewhere within that range. So, I mean, you have a guy who is lifelong to the left, still very left-wing on a number of issues that conservatives are more right-wing about to this day, but we kind of give it a pass because it's Trump. And he's like the guy like leading the charge now. And now we have Elon Musk, another guy who's, you know, a left-wing guy his entire life, was in the Hollywood bubble for so many years and stuff like that. The only reason why people turned on him is because, you know, he started to speak out against, you know, the censorship that was coming in from the left. And he's vocally anti-censorship in that aspect. But at the same token, again, he's very, very left-wing on all the other issues. So it's like we take one guy because, well, he says something that I agree with on one issue, so we just bring him into the fold. And the next thing you know, it's like, no, we're kowtowing on a lot of the other issues that we would normally have a front against. So it's like, oh, well, Elon Musk is anti-censorship. No, he's on our side. Yeah, but no, he's also pro fornication. He has multiple kids out of wedlock, completely mocking of the family structure. These are all the things you guys said that you were completely for. Yet he's basically spinning in the face and all of that. But it's like, yeah, but he's anti-censorship though. So well, we're gonna look past all that for now because we're more focused on saying whatever I want on Twitter or on YouTube and stuff like that. And because people fold on those issues because it's convenient, this is essentially why we have this fracture in the right days right now. No one's actually willing to stand up and say, hey, you know what? That's great that you agree with me on this issue, but you're really not a good fit for what we're doing here. You know, maybe we'll collab here in the future, but you're not really right for our movement. And because the right for so many years is looking for that validation because, you know, Hollywood hates the right. The media hates the right. All of the entertainment platforms, the educational platforms, there's just so much heat. We're just begging and yearning for that one day that's like, oh, with that one big name celebrity just comes to our side. It's like embrace him with open arms, prop him up, and he'll be our quote unquote messiah for the right. And that's exactly what we've done with a number of people. And unfortunately, it's bitten us in the butt more times than it's actually worked out for us over the last, you know, several years. So that's kind of the problem. The solution, actually stand for what you claim to stand for and stop bending so much to please the world, essentially, because I guess we can wrap it up a little Bible verse here. Bible tells us, do not be friends with the world, do not love the world, because the love of the world, the love of the Father is not in them, right? So it's like, if you love being popular, if you love fame, if you love the attention that the world gives you, well, guess what? You're going to have to essentially break on a lot of morals that relate directly to God in order to be a friend of the world. This is why all the most popular people in the world are usually pretty wicked, evil people. That's the only way that you can become friends, be liked by the world. So at the end of the day, do you want to be liked by the world, or do you want to be liked by the only man that actually matters in this whole thing, being Christ, right? So you got to be honest with yourself and take accountability about what's going on here. And some people aren't ready to do that.
You got that right. Well, hey, man, that was a mouthful, and that was a lot. I appreciate every bit of that. I mean, I think it's great, and yeah, I think to add on to that is, you know, we'll know by their fruits who they are and what they are, you know, the fruits that they bear. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Again, enjoying your show, love it. Hope you all will check him out. Go ahead and plug when you're on, where you're at, because I know you're on YouTube, you're on Rumble, you know, anything. Go ahead and plug yourself.
Yeah, so Society Reviews, you can find me on YouTube, Rumble. You can also find me on X as well, on Society Movies. I do 2 streams a week. Tuesday is our barroom show where we do a lot of entertainment related stuff. Sunday is the Bible Lens. I'm currently working on the series The Truth About the Satanic Panic. Go back and watch the first 3 episodes of that. It'll completely change your mind on everything that you thought you knew about Satanic Panic. We haven't even gotten into the bread and butter of the 1980s and the 1990s yet, so it's only going to get more in depth as we go along here. So go check out that series. I write for Abounding in the Comics, so I do articles and movie reviews for them as well. So we also do a Wednesday night stream called 01 with a few people who work there, so you can find me there on Wednesday nights. Outside of that, yeah, I'm pretty much working on a whole bunch of stuff, and you know, it'll be a very, very interesting year with some of the things that are going on, especially as it pertains to biblical prophecy, because if you guys aren't paying attention to what's going on in the world, it'd probably be a good time to do so, because, you know, we got rumors of possibly being a new pope. We got rumors of, you know, a conflict now with Iran, that the U.S. is sending jets over to Iran. Syria doesn't really have a leader right now. And when you look at all these things from a biblical perspective, they have a very significant importance there, especially when we start relating to, you know, a little time called the end, the tribulation, 70th week of Daniel. So if you're not paying attention now, you probably want to pay attention, because, you know, maybe last call, I'll just say that.
Absolutely. I feel like you and I could probably talk for another 30 minutes to an hour, but I can't hold you that long. So thank you again so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking with you some more. It's been great.
Hey, look, man, I'm definitely willing to come back whenever time you want to talk about more things that are going on in the world, because, you know, I have a lot of opinions, as you can tell here. So whenever I can come back and make it work, it'll be good.
Sounds good. Hey, man, thanks so much. All right. Again, just super grateful to be able to have these conversations with like-minded people. May actually have some people coming on that aren't like-minded. I found somebody that I may reach out to that We may have a difference of opinions on a lot of things, and we may have a good, healthy conversation. We will see how that goes, but I do enjoy having people on the show and having conversations nonetheless. What do you guys think about this? Do you like seeing more guests on the show? Would you like to see it having more on there? I know I've done some videos that were just interviews, and I've had some with the interviews included in them. And yeah, I kind of like changing it up from time to time. I don't know, keep it fresh, keep it new, right? But please go follow Society Reviews. Again, YouTube, Rumble, X, Bounding into Comics. Go check him out. Go follow him. He does great work. I highly recommend, especially, again, that Sunday show. Can't say enough about that Sunday show. Breaks it down on a real world level, and I love it. All right, guys, that is it for the show. I want to thank you for sticking around and watching. Again, hopefully I've earned a like or maybe even a sub. Getting really close to that 1,000 subs on YouTube. Rumble is doing great if you're watching it, but thank you for that. If you're watching on Odyssey, I appreciate you. I don't do a lot with Odyssey, and it's hard for me to stream over there and do some things over there, but I see you guys in the comments. I appreciate you tuning in like you do. But guys, don't forget to like, share, follow, all that good fun stuff. Hang out with us this Saturday night on Third Railify's Off the Rails. Link in the comment section down below. I will be a guest on Mom's Mysteries and Mayhem over on YouTube and Rumble. She might do X too. I don't know. But friend of the show, Gina's channel, I will be over there talking about some, spooky stuff in Hollywood, symbolism and occultism and all that good fun stuff. So it's going to be an awesome show there. Again, Society Reviews that was on today. Don't forget to go check him out. And our next Monday Night Mayhem, our live stream, will be the first Monday in May, or not May, Mayhem. See what I did there? It will be the first Monday in March, which is going to be the 3rd. So March 3rd, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be announcing the panel for that coming up very soon. It's going to be a nerd panel talking about films, and I am thrilled to do that one. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Don't forget to go visit Pure Blood Media for all things good news, and we will talk to you on the next one.
So I went to this Chinese all-you-can-eat buffet, and the owner, he got pissed. I mean, he was rude, though. He'd come out every hour. Son of a bitch, still here.